Guru अम्बे अम्बे मात की जय। श्री सियावर रामचंद्र की जय। We'll all sing together, page 75, बसाले मन मंदिर मेरा। बसाले मन मंदिर मेरा, बसाले मन मंदिर मेरा। Vandana, Jai Siya Ram. Shali and Bharat will start and then we'll all sing.
चंद्र आश्रित पारिजात है, समस्त कल्याण गुणाभिराम, सीता मुखम चंचरीक निरंतर मंगलनायक, निरंतर मंगलनायक। जय रघुनंदन जय सिया राम, जय रघुनंदन जय सिया राम, जय रघुनंदन जय सिया राम, जय रघुनंदन जय सिया राम। हे दुख भंजन
respected Ishtaprana Mataji, respected elders, dear sisters and brothers, Om Namo Narayanaya. It gives me great joy to extend a very warm and cordial welcome to each and every one of you to tonight's auspicious celebration of the birth of our Lord, Sri Ram. The last few days have been charged with divine energy as we recounted the glories of Sri Ram. This evening, we were very blessed to have received a benedictory message from Most Revered Swami Gautamanandaji Maharaj, the Vice President of the Worldwide Ramakrishna Math and Mission, which we listened to at the beginning of the satsang. Our speaker this evening is Mr. Bharat Ramkisan. We kindly request Mr. Ramkisan to present his talk.
Om Nilambujasyamala Komalangam Sita Samaro Pitavamabhagam Pano Mahasayaka Charuchapam Namami Ramam Raghuvanchanatham Namami Ramam Raghuvanchanatham. Revered Ishtaprana Mataji and dear devotees of Sri Ram, Om Namo Narayanaya. On this day, according to the Hindu lunar calendar, thousands of years ago, that Satchidananda, existence, consciousness, and bliss absolute, manifested on earth in the form of Sri Ram. Sri Ram's nature, character, behavior, actions, all of these, there's two words in Hindi that sum it up quite well. Shri Ram's Prabhav, Swabhav, and Shri Ram's Prabhav. That means Shri Ram's nature, and Shri Ram's Prabhav is effect or influence, or what effect it has. It is ingrained in Hindu psyche. In the course of Hindu life, as it is, in the scriptures, there are 16 sacraments that are followed from before the time a child is born. The final rite being the final rites when a person dies. So, at each of these sacraments, there are traditional songs which are sung. If you look at, if a male child is born in a house, then they sing a traditional genre called sohar. So, in these sohars, many of these sohars, the child is seen as baby Ram, father as Raja Dashrath, mother as Mother Kaushalya, and they sing about his activities. They'll say, look, there's baby Ram, his mother is trying to feed him and he's running away, and Raja Dashrath is looking this all excited, he's waiting for Sri Ram to eat, and then he can get that leftover, the jhota of Sri Ram, he's waiting to savor that. For him, that's better than nectar. So, and if you look at the sacred thread ceremony, the songs in which they sing there, it's not the boy is getting a sacred thread, it's Sri Ram getting a sacred thread. Sri Ram's head is being shaved. Sri Ram is being put on, the sacred thread is being put on Sri Ram. What we used to follow, even in South Africa up till recently, I noticed that it's beginning to go away a bit. When a man is getting married, then the bridegroom is Ram. The bride is Sita, etc. So the association of Ram with our life is so ingrained, right up till the final rites, as we are going to the crematorium. What do our friends and family who are taking us there say? They Ram Nam Satya Hai. In India, there's another refrain that is added. It's not just Ram Nam Satya Hai, it's Ram Nam Satya Hai, Jivana Asatya Hai. Ram's name is the truth. This life is false. It's not true. And this statement is equivalent to the Vedantic statement, Brahma Sat Jagan Mithya. Brahman alone is real, the world is illusory. For some people, they think that's a very pessimistic way of looking at it. We should say, no, this world is good, but there's something better. But this statement here, if you look at it very carefully, when we say that this world is untrue, I'm seeing this world, I'm seeing objects and stuff. If that is not true, then what is true? Then what I am seeing as the faults in this world, this crime, this uncertainty, this old age, disease, death, that is not true. Then what is real? Then Tulsidas Ji, in one of the introductory shlokas of the Balkan, says, Yan Mayav Shavarti Vishwamakhilam Brahmadi Devasura Yat Satvadam Risheva Bhati Sakalam Rajjo Yatha Her Brahma. As the last part of that thing, Rajjo Yatha Her Brahma, like the snake, the rope, the snake is seen in the rope. So the snake is unreal. It's an imposition on the reality, which is the rope. So this, what we are seeing with all these problems, is not really true. What is really here, if we have the perception to see it, is God. And Tulsidas Ji, in the Manas, he puts it from a bhakti's perspective, in a more positive framework. He says, Siya Rama me sabat gajani karahu pranama jori jugaprani. Jori jugapani. I see the whole world as Sita and Ram, consciousness and energy at play. And seeing that, I bow down. Some things you bow down from far, like Master says. You don't have to go and embrace the tiger. So these lessons we learn, from Ram and how it's ingrained into our life. I think it's a bit sad that this traditional way of life, we are losing it, because it lends itself to the spiritual approach where we divinize human relationships and humanize our divine relationship. When we celebrate our birthdays, the way we celebrate changes with years. That's one of the differences between God and us. But Sri Ram, we still celebrate his birthday as a child. We can't, that's the beauty of God. And why would we want to celebrate? Why would we want to see the form, the child as a Lord, the Lord as a child? It gives us a more scope to love the Lord, but not just to love the Lord. It is to serve the Lord. They say seva is love in action. When we're performing puja and things, we can say, here's prasad, Lord, eat. We'll say, here's water, Lord, have a bath. But with the child, you can't say, here's your food, eat it. You have to go and feed the child. And if the child doesn't want to eat, you have to chase behind the child and feed the child. So the scope for love and service increases. So let us let us go to Ayodhya and this celebration that is taking place there on Ram Utsav, in the words of Tulsidas Ji, and I'll ask Mataji and others to lead the recital of the first set.
Put all the mics on. We'll begin with Joga Lagana Graha Bharatithi. The prayer has been chanted, so we'll go to Doha.
Jogalagana graha bharatithi sakala bhaye anukul chara aru achara harish juta ram janam sukha moola Shri Siyavara Ramachandra ki jai Pavana Sutta Hanuman ki
must chant from your sheets that you have.
Raghupati Raghav Raja Ram Patita Pavana Sita Raghupati Raghav Raja Ram Patita Pavana Sita Ram Naumi Titi Madhumasa Punita Sukala Pacha Abhijita Hari Prita Madhya Divasa Ati Sita Naghama Pavana Kala Loka Vishrama Raghupati Raghav Raja Ram Patita Pavana Sita Ram Sitala Mandla Surabhi Bahabahu Harshita Sura Santana Mana Chao Mana Kusumita Giri Gana Maniyara Shravani Sakala Saritamrita Dhara Raghupati Raghav Raja Ram Patita Pavana Sita Ram So Avasara Viranchi Jabajana Chale Sakala Sura Saji Vimana Gagana Vimala Sankula Sura Juta Gavani Guna Gandhara Babaruta Raghupati Raghav Raja Ram Patita Pavana Sita Ram Varashahi Sumana Sandujari Saji Kahakahi Gagana Gunda Vibaji Astuti Kalahi Nagamuni Deva Bahubidhi Lavahi Nija Nija Seva Raghupati Raghav Raja Ram Patita Pavana Sita Ram Raghupati Raghav Raja Ram Patita Pavana Sita Ram Sita Ram Sita Ram Bhaj Pyare Tu Sita Ram Sita Ram Sita Ram Bhaj Pyare Tu Sita Ram Raghupati Raghav Raja Ram Patita Pavana Sita Ram Raghupati Raghav Raja Ram Patita Pavana Sita Ram Doha Sur Samoha Vinati Kari Pahuche Nija Nija Dham Jaganivas Prabhu Pragati Akhila Loka Vishram Shri Siyavara Ramachandra Ki Jai Pavana Sutta Hanuman Ki Jai Shri Ambe Ambe Mata Ki Jai.
The meaning of these few verses is the position of the sun and the moon, the zodiacal sign into which the sun had entered, the position of the 7 other planets, the day of the week, as well as the day of the lunar month. All these turned out to be propitious, and full of delight was all of creation, animate and inanimate, for the birth of Sri Ram is the source of joy. It was the 9th day of the bright half of the sacred month of Chaitra. The moon had entered the asterism named Abhijit, which is so dear to Sri Hari. The sun at its meridian, the day was neither cold nor hot. It was a holy time which gave rest to the whole world. A cool, soft and fragrant breeze was blowing. The gods were feeling exhilarated, and the saints were bubbling with enthusiasm. The woods were full of blossoms, the mountains were resplendent with gems, and every river flowed a stream of nectar. When Lord Brahma perceived that the time of Sri Ram's birth had approached, all the gods came out with their aerial cars duly equipped. The bright heaven was crowded with their hosts, and troops of Gandharvas chanted praises and rained down flowers, placing them in their beautiful palms. The sky resounded with the beat of kettle drums. Nagas, sages, and gods offered praises and tendered their services in manifold ways. Having offered their praises, the gods returned to their several abodes, when the Lord, the abode of the universe and the solace of all of creation, manifested himself.
What beautiful words. The whole of creation is getting ready for Sri Ram to appear. The words here, Joga Lagana Graha Bharatiti, they're talking about the celestial world, the position of the stars and the moon. Sakala Bhe Anukul, they became beneficent. So they are so happy that Ram is being born that they are being beneficent to the world. And they are ready to serve Ram. Then the first line is fine. They say, Madhya Divasa Atisita Naghama Pavanakala Loka Vishra. After that Joga Lagana, this next line was Chara Aru Achara Harsha Juta Rama Janama Sukhamul. It says, the movable and immovable objects were full of ecstasy. What are movable and immovable objects? There are things of this world, like we can move, animals can move, so we are char. Achar is like rocks, trees, metals, things that we consider insentient. But even these were waiting expectantly for the Lord. And this is a very beautiful bhakti sentiment that Tulsi Rashri is presenting. And it's not just a sentiment, it is based on some spiritual insight. We usually think that sentience is only with the humans or with other animals. But Sri Ramakrishna used to say that there are three manifestations of Brahman in this world. One is the waters of the Ganga. He is not referring to the deity Ganga. He's talking about the physical waters of the Ganga, the dust of Vraj, that is the dust of Vrindavan, where Krishna used to run around bare feet with all his friends, and the prasad at Puri. Once again, he is talking about those puff rice prasad. And all these things are insentient, but from a spiritual perspective, all these things here, these three in particular, are said to be manifestation of Brahman in this world. Likely anything that becomes associated with the Lord becomes sentient. And so even our hearts which are hard and stone-like, maybe when the Lord wills it, it will soften and we will develop some true love for Him. And the whole of nature is celebrating. They say Madhya Divasa Atisita Naghama, saying it's midday and it is not too hot and not too cold, but midday is the time which is normally the hottest time of the day. Pavanakala Loka Vishrama, from a normal point of view, that's understandable. midday is one of the sandhyas. Any time there's a juncture, those are considered auspicious times, and we're supposed to be doing sadhana at that time, whether it's a junction of night and day, which is sunrise, whether it is a junction between morning and afternoon, which is midday, and then sunset and midnight, etc. All these are considered auspicious times. And in India, if you go, usually it's so hot that after they have their midday meals, that's siesta time. So loka vishrama, the world is resting. But here Tulsidas is not talking about that Pavankal and that Vishram. I think so we'll go into that a bit later as we're going on, if we have time. But nature is waiting, all excited. The wind is blowing, but what kind of wind? Not a harsh wind. It is a soft, gentle, fragrant wind. It's waiting to fan the Lord. And the rivers are flowing as if nectar. The Sarayu River is waiting expectantly. Soon the Lord will appear, and he was going to come and have a bathe in me. How blessed I'm going to be. And the gardens are rejoicing. They are in bloom because they are waiting. The Lord will come. As he grows up, he's going to come and play in us. He's going to revel in us. So these are the emotions that Tulsidashi is trying to bring out over here. And at that time, Brahma and the gods, Brahma intuited that the Lord is about to appear, and together with all the Devtas and the Nagas and the Siddhas, they are in the skies, they are singing the praises of the Lord, waiting to shower their petals. And at that point, just before the Lord is born, they go back to their house. Sura Samuha Vinati Kari Pahuche Nija Nijadham Jaganivasa Prabhu Pragate Akhila Lok Vishram. After they went, then he appeared. So they all got dressed up and came for the party and left before it started. So why? That is the will of the Lord, because the next part that we are going to read is when the Lord actually appears. And this is a very special moment that the Lord wanted to share with his mother-to-be, and we may go into that a bit as after we read that part there. But I forgot one part of here, which is a very nice part in the first doha. We say, Ram Janama Sukhamul. The birth of Ram is the root of all happiness. And literally in this case here, yes, when Ram was being born physically in Ayodhya, that is the root of happiness. From here, the times are going to improve. He's going to start killing the demons in a few years. Ravan is going to get killed. So his birth at that time is the root of happiness. Then that's his physical birth. But what significance does it have for us? We are celebrating this now as it was celebrated thousands of years ago. Are we expecting Ram to come in the physical form in front of us? Tulsidashi is saying, no, if you want happiness in your life, then Lord has to take birth in your heart in order for true happiness to take place. So how does the Lord, who pervades the whole universe and in our heart, how do we make him manifest or appear to us? In a couple of a few verses before this, when we were reading where they do the J.J. Suranayak verses, all the Devtas were wondering, okay, Ravan is terrorizing us due to the boons that he's got from Brahma. We can't do anything about it, so they go and complain to Brahma. I say, see what you caused here, you gave him these boons. But Brahma says what he has done, he's done his tapasya, he deserves his reward, I have to give it to him. So what is the solution? He says, no, we need Lord to come and sort out the problem. And everybody is asking, but where do we find the Lord? And at that point, Shivji says, Hari Vyapaka Sarvatra Samana Premat Pragate Ho Hime Jana. The Lord is present everywhere equally. Sarvatra Samana. Everywhere and equally. Premate Pragata. When due to love, when love grows in our heart, then the Lord will manifest. So when the love itself manifests and the Lord is in our heart, we have love in our heart, we have love for our families and things like that there, but that is a limited love. When the love is there and the Lord is there, then that love extends to everyone, and that is the source of true happiness in our lives. So the next part we're going to read is when the Lord appears.
Hai pragat kripala deen dayala kaushalya hikatari harshita mahatari muni manahari adbhuta rupa vichari lochana abhirama tanu ghana shama nija ayudha bhujachari bhushana vanamala nayana visara shobha sindhu karari kahaduri kara jori astuti tori tehi vidhi karo ananta maya guna jnana dita amana veda purana bhananta karuna sukha sagar sab guna agar jehi gavari shruti santa so mama hitalagi jana anuragi bhaya pragat shikanta brahmanda nikaya nirmita maya roma roma prativeda kahe mama uraso hasi yaha upahasi sunat dhira mati dhira na rahe उपजा जब ज्ञाना प्रभु मुस्काना चरित बहुत विधि की न चाहे कही कथा सुहाई मातु बुझाई जेहि प्रकार सुत प्रेम लहे माता पुनि बोली सोमति डोली तजहु तात यह रूपा की जैसी सुरीला अति प्रिय शीला यह सुख परम अनुपा सुनि वचन सुजाना रोदन थाना होई बालक सुर भूपा यह चरित जय गावहि हरि पद पावहि तेन परहि भव कृपा दोहा विप्रधेनु सुरसंकहित लीन्ह मनुज अवतार निज इच्छा निर्मित तनु माया गुण गोपार श्री सियावर रामचंद्र की जय पवन सुत हनुमान की जय श्री अम्बे अम्बे मात
gracious Lord, who is compassionate to the lowly and the benefactor of Kaushalya, appeared. The thought of his marvelous form, which stole the heart of sages, filled the mother with joy. His body was dark as a cloud, the delight of all eyes. In his forearms he bore characteristic emblems, that is, a conch shell, a discus, a club, and a lotus. Adorned with jewels and a garland of sylvan flowers, and endowed with large eyes, the slayer of the demon Kara was an ocean of beauty. Joining both her palms, the mother said, "O infinite Lord, how can I praise you? The Vedas as well as the Puranas declare you as transcending Maya, beyond attributes, above knowledge, and beyond all measure. He who is sung by the Vedas and holy men as an ocean of mercy and bliss, and the repository of all virtues, the same Lord of Lakshmi, the lover of his devotees, has revealed himself for my good. The Vedas proclaim that every pore of your body contains multitudes of universes brought forth by Maya. That such a Lord stayed in my womb, this amusing story staggers the mind of even men of wisdom. When the revelation came upon the mother, the Lord smiled. He would perform many a sportive act. Therefore he exhorted her by telling her the charming account of her previous birth, so that she might love him as her own child. The mother's mind was changed. She spoke again. Give up this superhuman form and indulge in childish sports, which are so dear to a mother's heart. The joy that comes from such sports is unequaled in every way. Hearing these words, the all-wise Lord of immortals became an infant and began to cry. Those who sing this lay, says Tulsidas ji, attain to the abode of Sri Hari and never fall into the well of mundane existence. For the sake of Brahmanas, cows, gods, and saints, the Lord, who transcends Maya and is beyond the three modes of Prakriti, Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas, as well as beyond the reach of the senses, took birth as a man, assuming a form which is a product of his own will.
What a beautiful scene Tulsidashi has painted with his words, and Mataji read that, and I'm sure that can be a form of meditation that everybody can practice, visualizing the scene, because what it says here, Charita Jagave Hari Padapavahi, by doing this, by singing this section here, we gain love for the Lord. And there are lots of philosophical insights which are hidden in there, but as time is a bit of a problem. So let's just go to one part of a couple of points that I'd like to raise here. That the Lord, when He appeared to her, he appeared to her, and He explained to her the story of a previous life. And I just want to go very quickly into that. It's done in a bit more detail over here, earlier on in the Balkand. The story of Manu and Shatrupa. Manu was the first man, and Shatrupa was the first lady, and the whole of mankind is the progeny of Manu, and hence we are called Manushya. But they set down, laid the general guidelines for living in this world. Manu Smriti is a scripture written by Manu Maharaj, But Manu, when he reached his 4th stage, he went into the forest with his wife Shatrupa and they performed penance. And when the Lord appeared to them, they asked for the boon that we want a son like you. Manu was intelligent. It seems a bit, what's the word I'm looking for? Demanding to say, no, I want you to be born as my son. He says, no, it's one thing I want a son like you. So the Lord told him, there is none like me, so I will be born as your son. And then he asked Shatrupa, you've also done tapasya, so you asked for a boon. And she says, no, what my husband asked for is also my desire. But if you ask me to, if you ask me to ask above that, then when you are born to me, I have that same love and knowledge of your nature that other people have, that the other devotees have. And the Lord, so because she wanted to have the gyan as well as the love, as the bhakti, that is why the Lord had to come and tell her, here's the gyan, Brahmanda Nikaya, Nirmitamaya, there are pores, there are millions of universes that are born from my, and she says, Tulsidas, she says, Upaja Jabagana, Prabhu Musakana, Charita, she tells him, oh Lord, this is wonderful, but I've changed my mind. Please assume the form of a child so that I can love you. So when Shatrupa asked that, may I know who you are as well as love you, then Dasharat at that time it says, oh Lord, please, I'm being a bit greedy here, just one more boon. May I not know who you are. May I love you only as my son, and may my life rest in you, and may my life leave me when I am separated from you. So that is the perspective of a true bhakta. So in this case here, Dasharath represents bhakti, and Kaushalya represents gyan in the next life. But after realization, what? There are different paths to enlightenment. One of the paths is gyan. After you attain it, then you've attained it. Then you're just living out your life until you go. They say it's the prarabdha who will have to go through its course. It's like a fan that's switched off. It just carries on, turning on that energy that's left there. All that is true. But there's something you have to do with your life. What makes our life meaningful? That's what she says. Okay, I've got it. I've got that enlightenment. But now let me go into bhakti. And you see the same with lots of jnanis. Shankaracharya himself, the greatest of jnanis. But the greatest of bhakti literature in Sanskrit comes from him. So the last verse, Nija Ichha Nirmita Tanu Maya Guna Gopar, that is also one of the distinctions, the differences between the Lord and us. Nija Ichha Nirmita Tanu. He produced a body that he wanted, of his own will. We don't choose our body. We can't change our body unless we go for plastic surgery or something. But the Lord's body is how he wants it to be. Our bodies are a product of our past karmas. As a result of our karmas, our body is formed in a certain way, but the Lord has no karma. So if he has to take form, he takes the form that he wants. So there's lots of more other things, but time is going, and I think so we'll just do the last one and conclude.
Shri Ram Jai Ram.
Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Sunisi Surudana Parama Priya Bani Sambrahma Chaliyai Sabarani Harashita Jahata Dasi Ananda Magana Sakala सहित नृप द्वारा अनुपम बालक देखे निजाई रूप राशि गुण कहि न सिराई श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम श्री 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 राम जय जय राम दोहा नंदी मुख सराध करी जात करम सब कीन्हा हाट कधेनु बसन मनी नृप विब्रह्म कह दीन्हा श्री सियावर रामचंद्र की जय पवन सुत हनुमान की जय श्री अम्बे अम्बे मात की जय.
On hearing the most pleasing sound of the baby's cries, all the queens came in a flurry. Maid servants ran helter-skelter in great delight. All the people of the city were transported with joy. When the tidings of the birth of a son reached King Dashrath's ears, he was drowned, as it were, in the ecstasy of absorption into Brahma. With a mind saturated with the highest love, and with a body thrilling all over with joy, he sought to rise, while attempting to recover his senses. The same Lord whose very name brings blessings with it, even when it reaches one's ears, has arrived at my house, he said to himself, and the thought filled his mind with supreme joy. Sending for musicians, he said, "Play on your instruments." The preceptor Vashishta was also summoned, and he called at the palace door with a train of brahmanas. They all went and gazed upon the peerless babe, who was an embodiment of beauty and possessed excellences more than one could tell. After performing the Nandi Mukha Shraddh, the king completed all the rites connected with the birth of a child and made gifts of gold, cows, raiment, and jewels to all the brahmanas.
Here we see Dashrath's reaction as we were as explaining the end conclusion of the last verse there. Kaushalya went in as a jnani. She got her realization and she says, okay, now let me serve you, love you and serve you as a child. She wants to go through that bhakti. Dashrath, who wanted to maintain that bhakti and not have the gyan, the nature of love is such, when that love is so deep and so vast, you can't but know. How can you love something and not know what you are loving? So when he heard, then Dasharatha Putra Janma Sunikana Manahu Brahmananda Samana. It was as if he was in the bliss of Brahman. The bliss of Brahman is not a bhakti thing, it's a gyan. It's something that you experience through the path of gyan. And he also says, Paramananda Puri Manaraja. His whole mind was saturated with the bliss of Brahman. And it ends with this before the Chopais, that he says, he went and he donated. And these verses continue. It doesn't end here. This was, the beginning part of the celebration, it goes on for a few more verses. We see how everybody is celebrating. Everybody, if anybody meets somebody, they are so happy. Whatever they have on them, they're just giving it to them. And the person who gets it, they are so happy. The happiness that they are feeling, these things that they just got means nothing to them, so they are giving it away themselves. So this is a sign of the Lord appearing in our heart. When our heart expands, you know, if you're a person, if you are small-minded, small-hearted, then we want to gather. When the Lord is in our heart, then our heart has to expand, and then giving is nothing but natural. And this celebration carried on not for one day. It was 1 month. The sun as if stood still. The sun stood still. And the celebrations carried on, but nobody knew the secret of it. You know, did they not get tired? These children are born, their names are not given yet, but the influence is already can be seen. You know, Ram's name is Jo Anand Sindhu Sukarasi Si Karate Stre Loka Supasi So Sukadhama Rama Sanama Akhila Lokada Yaka Vishrama. That ocean of bliss, a drop of which is enough to make everyone happy, and in which everyone rests. There's another philosophical thing about that, we won't go into that. But everybody is happy and everyone is feeling rested because of the prabhav of Ram. Bharat, what's the meaning of Bharat's name? Vishwa Bharana Poshana Karajoyi. The one who nourishes and sustains the universe. If that prabhav is there, there is no need. No one is thinking, hey, this day went, my whole month's ration went away. No one is eating, everybody is busy celebrating. We see in the life of Master himself too. For months on end, he would not sleep. He would hardly eat because it is that power, that spiritual power that enlivens them. And I'd like to conclude with the last bit of this birth celebrations, where Shankar Bhagwan tells Parvati, I'll tell you a secret, that Kakpushundi and I also went. We took the form of humans and went there. Even God, everybody wants to be included, even Tulsidas ji himself, because this Doha 196, Mana Santosha Zabhanike Jahataha Dehi Asis, Sakalatane Chira Jivahu Tulasi Dasake Is. Everybody is saying, may the lords of Tulsidas live for long. Tulsidas wasn't there, but he's putting himself. So let us, in this remainder of our satsang over here, and even when we go home, carry these feelings and put ourselves in the celebrations that is Sri Ram Naumi. Om Hari Om Tat Sat.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Let us meditate for a few moments before we offer the arati. And as we meditate, let us reflect on all the beautiful passages that we chanted, we read the meaning of, and received some explanation. Let us feel that joy in our hearts. Salutations to Sri Ram, a veritable moon in giving delight, a haven of safety, all-knowing, the chief of the Raghus, the Lord of Sita, and Master of all. Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Let's lovingly stand and offer the arati. महाराज की जय, महामाई की जय, स्वामी जी महाराज की जय, गंगा मात की जय, महावीर स्वामी जी की जय, सर्व ऋषि मुनियों की जय।